Good morning and welcome to our September regular meeting of the Chesterfield County Council. It's 9 a.m., so I will call this meeting to order. At this time, I'll lead us in prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day, and we pray that as we proceed through this meeting, that we will do our best to serve the people of this county in a manner that would be pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Please bless all employees of this county as they seek to provide us with a safe place to live and work and provide the necessary services that enhance our daily lives. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Conklin, Mr. Miller, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. If there are no corrections or deletions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 2023 meeting.
One comment. Madam Clerk, I'm not going to vote. I was absent. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Burns, Mr. Conklin, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, the signing of the bonds and the payroll and authorizations. Those bonds are being passed, I think, for signing. We'll move down to item 6, appointments. Today we have Ms. Mara Jones with us, who is the Executive Director of the Alpha Behavioral Center, and she's here to present some information to the council about partnering with Alpha to apply for fundings to promote the opioid abatement strategies within the county. Welcome this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I am going to, you may be familiar with this, and you may not. What I will do is we will just take one that looks like this, and then there is a funding report right behind it. I've made copies for you, and all of this is available on the South Carolina Opioid Recovery website. But I did want to ensure that y'all have it in front of you as we're speaking so that if you have any questions. I am Mara Jones. I am the Executive Director for the Alpha Behavioral Health Center, and we serve Chesterfield, Kershaw, and Lee County. And I'm before you today to provide some information and also to be able to support the Chesterfield County government being able to be a recipient of the governmental political subdivision discretionary funds. So as you may be aware that when opioids came on the scene, they were sold to the United States as a bill of goods that they were safe and effective. The unfortunate part about it is that was not actually true. Big Pharma did not deliver the correct information. So there was a national lawsuit, and South Carolina signed on to it along with each county. We received those funds, and those funds have went to the Attorney General's office. In the Attorney General's office, there were some taken off of the top, and then there were those that went out to each county. And there are some that are going to be discretionary subfunds that individuals may apply to the state for them. In your packet, you have, I gave you all 4 of them. And you will see that Chesterfield County is on there. And Chesterfield County receives underneath the governmental political subdivision subfunds. Your first allocation in September of '22, you will see that y'all actually received, y'all were sitting at $166,041.38. The funds are going to be reoccurring. We do not know for how long, The projection is almost up to 15 years. So as funds come, they will be allocated out per population. And as you can look at the December 8th, y'all got one of the largest disbursements, which was $325,564. Then, if you flip over to May the 22nd of 2023, you will see your current balance is $507,772.20. That is sitting in, at the state, waiting for y'all to be able to apply for it. That, again, I'm going to share with you is under the governmental political subdivision. So I'm gonna kind of break it down the easiest way whenever I was explaining to Kershaw County Council. You got two buckets. One is going to be a grants for anyone to apply for. Y'all are not eligible for that unless you want to apply for those. It is like doing a federal grant. It is in a lengthy, long application, but anyone may apply for that as long as they are meeting all the requirements in that pot of money. Over here is the governmental political subdivision. That is this county council. That money is sitting, waiting in an account for y'all to be able to draw down to use for abatement of opioids and other substances of use in Chesterfield County. I'm gonna get to what that actually means because, you know, we like to say, oh, there's money sitting there, but, you know, it's got that string attached to it, which is unfortunate. Because in talking with the sheriff and talking with other community members, it would be great for us to be able to utilize it for the needs that we think, hey, it should go here and it should go here, we need this. The unfortunate part about it is funding is available. The unfortunate part about it is there are certain abatement strategies that must be used and must be approved by the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund Board. So once Chesterfield County does their application, it goes to the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund. They review your application. They either accept it in partial, or they reject it. Those are the three options. What they look at is, does it meet the abatement strategies that are in here, and does this governmental body receive any other funding for your abatement issue? If so, they exclude it. It is not too difficult of an application. However, if you go on the website, you will see a lot of governmental entities are struggling to apply for it because it is more of a treatment type grant. It's a prevention and treatment type grant. Governmental entities are used to writing governmental grants for roads, construction, infrastructure, things like that. I was called in to help Kershaw County after they did not pass the first round. And these abatement strategies are what the Alpha Behavioral Health Center, they come straight from my state office, the Department of Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Services. I am here today to talk to you about collaborating with us to be able to partner, and for the Alpha Center does have some abatement strategies that we would like. The funds in here are for the governmental political subdivision to basically divide out to those partners, the sheriff's office, it may be the Alpha Center, it could be the coroner, it could be a faith-based community member that is going to do those abatement strategies. The detention facility, we've partnered with them in Kershaw County. It is not the funds of whoever writes the grant and does it. The funds are to get filtered out for abatement. We want to stop the overdoses. The unfortunate part about it is we lost some people, 2 weeks ago. These are to try and do those interventions in order for us to have healthy, safe communities. The application is not difficult, but it is written as though it's a prevention and treatment grant. I think when I was speaking with Mr. Eubanks, he had asked, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Eubanks, he had asked me to share a little bit about how we deployed it in Kershaw County. How we deployed it in Kershaw County doesn't mean how you have to deploy it. However, what is very, very important for you to understand is if these funds are not utilized, they will go to another county. Chesterfield is my county, and Kershaw is my county, and Lee County is my county. I do not want to lose any dollars for my counties. Right now, we have a big crisis going on. The key that I'm going to tell you that I've learned after working with this grant so much is opioids and other substances. That's going to be your key words. And the reason for that is other substances. I may use cocaine and it's laced with fentanyl, and I had no intention of dying from fentanyl. So the sheriff is battling that every single day, and there are abatement issues that we can utilize for other substances that are directly correlated to opioids. The unfortunate part about it is opioids and fentanyl are seeping its way into individuals using other substances. One of the things that I'm going to share with you that I am deathly scared of is a young person who wants to smoke weed and has no idea it's laced with fentanyl, and their one use of experimental with marijuana leads to them dying. That's what we want to stop. That's what we want to educate. So in Kershaw County, we decided that the first thing we need to do is figure out who are all the players in the community that need to be involved in it and who want to be involved in it, because they have to do the work that's gonna be on it. So we developed basically the Opioid Coalition, and it has about 25 key members in our community. And the first thing we did was we went to the Prescription and Opioid Summit, because it just happened to be at that time, because educating individuals on the different strategies is key. So our community, we took off, and I took about 25 of us to Atlanta, and we participated in it. And we're in the process right now of deploying strategies while we're building the spaceship. And so it's kind of a twofold, because you got to remember, these are going to be recurring funds that are coming through. You're also, and one of the things I did not ask your county attorney, if y'all signed on to the pharmacies. Did y'all sign on with pharmacies? Okay. Pharmacies have now, there's 4 major pharmaceutical pharmacies in the state of South Carolina who are going to settle with the state of South Carolina because they were distributors of the opioid, and those funds are going to start coming in. There's no rhyme or reason how it comes in, so there needs to be a point person who manages and monitors and does all the wonderful reports that have to go back to the governmental, to the state, which is the SCORF. So there are reports that have to be done. So going back to it, my first, so they wrote a letter, and unbeknownst to me, they said, Ms. Jones, would you take over and write the grant and manage the funds and come back and report to county council? And it was with the understanding that this is not the Alpha Center's money. It is Kershaw County's money. So we are getting ready to apply for the second round of funding to go out to more community members. It passes through Kershaw County Council, and the funds come to the Alpha Center, and then I deploy out, ensuring that they're doing the abatement and they get their funds. We are partnering with the school district, we're partnering with the city PD, some faith-based communities, as well as the police department at the local, our sheriff's department and our small municipalities. And then, of course, a lot of the abatement is going to be treatment and intervention for those individuals in the prevention programs. So the Alpha Center does receive some of the funds because we are your alcohol and drug authority for Kershaw County and Chesterfield and Lee County. However, you need a point person to build your coalition and to continuously be doing needs assessment. So right now, this is not going to be in your material because it just came out 4 weeks ago. With a letter from your chair and from Mr. Eubanks, y'all can draw down $25,000 just to initiate your coalition. And we have not done that. I deployed a coalition before that was even made available. The South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund is building the ship as they've been going along because they were just appointed back in October after the legislative year had ended. And so there's $25,000 sitting just to build that coalition. So we have a point person who's building the coalition and constantly doing the needs assessment and bringing all the key players together. I am happy to help in any way on this because I do want to partner with Chesterfield County Council in order for us to be a partial recipient of some of the funds, utilizing the abatement issues that are in here. Whenever I met with y'all's administrator and his team, we talked about how it's going for Kershaw County, and it's been going pretty smoothly. And I said I'm happy to share it because I do not want Chesterfield County losing 1 cent. That needs to go out in our community that's entitled to the citizens of this community. So in looking at that, we have a person who is appointed and he is paid through this grant in order to be able to deploy it. I don't know about y'all, but there's not a lot of people who in government or at my agency who we can say, okay, I need to add this full-time job to your position. You can hire a coalition coordinator out of these funds. And then that person writes those conditionally, because every time you apply for the funds, you have to write a full grant to keep applying for it. The neat part about it is y'all were right on task because it opens up on the 14th of this month and it closes in October for your grant application to be due. And like I told Mr. Eubanks, I am happy because I'm ready for Chesterfield to get it. And I am ready to start deploying it because when we had those 4 overdoses and 3 deaths 2 weeks ago, I don't have the manpower to go out and do the knock and drops to get the naloxone out in the community. Every bit of naloxone that we can get out in the community, we can keep another person alive for another day to get them into recovery. We can keep, the schools are getting ready to have it. They're going to be great partners for us. So there's a lot that can be included in here. Now, one of the things that I am going to share with you is this particular funds is not going to pay for salaries of individuals. Now, it may pay for a salary for someone to do the abatement, but that was one of the biggest things, trying to make sure everybody understands. It has to be directly tied to the abatement. So just to tell you a little bit about some of the abatements. Our first abatement issue, our first application was that we will deploy a coalition in order for us to continuously do needs assessments and hire a opioid coalition leader who is totally responsible for this particular funding source and also providing quarterly updates to our county council. It is also to train individuals and get everybody in your community moving in the same direction versus working in silos. So that was where we do a lot of the training, and it paid for all that training. It also pays for you to be able to have some of the data collection. And I know that doesn't sound lovely at all, but we didn't have individuals just sitting around to do data collection. And so it paid for that. It paid for us to be able to expand our naloxone program to get more naloxone out in the community. I just always kind of put it like this, the elephant in the room is, some people have strong feelings about naloxone, the life-saving drug that can reverse an overdose, but I always tell people, if it was your child, do you want another day for recovery? And drugs are wreaking havoc on our young people and adults, and recovery is possible. The national average for someone getting into recovery is they will go to treatment 7 times before they get into recovery. Well, that may be I have to reverse an overdose 7 times before I get into recovery. We work with our EMS department very well, and we're getting ready to work with our hospital. We couldn't deploy all that at one time because we had to start slow. So our coalition also does pop-ups and knock and drops out in our community whenever something happens or we have an overdose. I don't know if y'all recall, in Kershaw County last November, we had a horrible batch of cocaine that came in, and we lost almost 11 people. 19 overdosed. If you listen to the 911 tape, a Camden High School girl had gone to the basketball game, and when she came home, her father was already deceased, and you can hear them on the 911 call, and she's begging her mother to wake up, and her mother is doing the gurgling for the death rattle, and that is what this young girl went home to. And so now we have a devastated life from that death. Those individuals had no intention of dying, thinking that they were using cocaine. So there's a lot of education. So naloxone, we're putting it's on order. We're putting a naloxone vending machine at our detention facility. Why do you want to do that? Your greatest overdoses are when someone leaves a detention facility. The national data says when someone leaves a detention facility, they are at the greatest risk for overdose. The reason for that is tolerance plummets within 24 to 48 hours when you stop using opioids. Someone's incarcerated for 24 to 48 hours. What do they want to do when they get out? I'm going to go use. And we are using a peer support. We run a weekly group in Kershaw County. I'm so excited that y'all have a sheriff who is collaborating and working with us to get into the detention facility, and this is going to be vital for us to have someone at y'all's facility to be able to educate. And also to get them in recovery. We run a weekly group, and we actually have about 1 to 2 people, when they get out, they could walk straight down to our agency, enroll in services. But getting that naloxone is vital. It's also there to educate family members, because when you pull up at our detention facility, we have all this coverage informing families. A lot of families don't know about this yet. It is amazing when I talk to faith-based communities, and our community members said, I have no idea this is going on. So there's a lot of work. We invested in a full media campaign with a lot of the technology with geofencing. We also work with our law enforcement for those community take-back days, as well as trying to get opioids off the streets and out of medicine closets and cabinets. Well, and so that's been a huge push for us, is for every pill that is sitting in someone's medicine closet, that's the opportunity for abuse and use and overdose. So a strategy is reducing down. So Ms. Burns, I come over to your house because you wanted to see if I could help you on something, but I look pretty nice, and I go in, can I use the bathroom? And I go in her medicine closet, and I take 1 pill out of a bottle with 30. She never notices it. And then I go to Mr. Smallwood's house, and I get 1. Never notice it, but I'm basically going through. Those are bottles that have been sitting there. How many of you, if you go clean out your medicine cabinet, you might be surprised at how many you gave away. I work in this field for 20 years, and my husband had knee replacement surgery, so we had lots of opioids sitting in our house. And when we cleaned out our medicine cabinet 3 years ago, we had over 600 pills that we just kept throwing into, you take your bottle and you throw it into a drawer, and we kept throwing it into that drawer. There are abatement issues that safely are out there for us to get into the community hands. I've been working with the faith-based community in Kershaw County to deploy that. We also want to expand our availability of medication-assisted treatment. It is the most viable and shows the greatest outcome for individuals who need opioid treatment. So I'm probably, Mr. Eubanks going to kill me, but I always take this time to really push and educate people on understanding. The Alpha Center runs a medication-assisted treatment program, and a lot of people have strong feelings about that. You're substituting one addiction for another. Here's the difference between it. There's a medication that sits in the center part of your brain that stops. You want opioids? Go get them. Go get them. Come on now. You want them? Come on, let's go. It calms that craving down while they're in treatment, learning recovery skills to say no, how to abstain from it. That is the national model. We have it here in Chesterfield County. Fortunately, it's one of the largest programs in the state. Unfortunately, it's one of the largest programs in the state. And we have it, we run it out of the Alpha Center. We want to expand that program in order to put it out further out. Transportation is a huge barrier in this community. Y'all have one of the largest rural communities. I traveled every school in this county whenever I first got here, and it would take me a full day going from school to school to school. And I said, individuals struggle, so we can put transportation in for it and to get people. Then we also utilize individuals to draw them in to doing more services. We offered a internship scholarship program, utilizing your college students to be the voice during the summer, educating them. Let me tell you what happened on that. I brought in 3 interns and educated them on going out in the community. I will be the first to tell you, I am a 53-year-old female, and me telling a 10th grader not to use drugs, you know what he's looking at me going, she don't know nothing. She never had fun in her life. We began using college students and educating them on the signs and symptoms of overdose and interventions with all substances. And the intent during my first round was to utilize them to make a greater impact on all the summer camps. This year, they hit 11 summer camps and hit over 500 kids. And those kids are more apt to listen to them than they are to me. And then 2 years ago, one of those interns went back to USC and saved a girl that had passed out in the bathroom because she knew the signs that it was an overdose. It wasn't a girl who just passed out. She actually saved that girl's life because of her internship. So there's value in that education. We have those. We're getting ready to go for our second round, and that is just like the deployment. And so we're getting ready to go for the second round on ours to expand, getting more community partners involved. I would love to be able to collaborate with y'all and to be able to build our ship together for us to be able to abate the opioids and other substances of use in this community. And I want to make sure that we don't miss the round that's coming up. And I have talked with Mr. Eubanks and said, hey, I am willing to share, do anything. I've been doing it for 20 years. Everything in here is what our state office basically took over to the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund and said, we want more people in the community using this. Here you go. That is a lot, and so what questions do you have for me? Yes, sir.
Can we receive or can we work together to obtain these services, all these services you were mentioning now?
Yes, absolutely. There's numerous models. And it's however this county council chooses to go about it. And I will tell you, because I am not here, I will be the first to tell you, I'm not here advocating that the Alpha Center be the sole source for deploying that. I'm not telling you that. Our county council just said, we're not a service provider, we're a governmental entity. Mara, will you hire the person and deploy it and then just come? And I was a little taken back and I said, okay. And we've done it because it made sense, because the governmental entity is not, y'all are service delivery, but you're not prevention and intervention and treatment delivery. So we deployed it that way, and there was a county council vote for the Alpha Center to be able to apply on behalf of Kershaw County government. And so with that letter, I then applied and got the funds, and then I just keep county council up to date. It does not have to be done that way. Your county council can apply for the funds, and I will help y'all. And then y'all can employ a person. Y'all don't even have to employ a person to do it. I just think it's really, really gonna be hard to do it, and you may also be missing that $25,000 if you want to build a coalition. And so there's your two options, or you could designate another agency to do it. Again, I am not here to advocate only on Alpha Center. I'm here to advocate that we draw down these dollars and start deploying them out in our community to save lives. And we want to be a part of it.
Any other councilman got any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. So what is the correlation between what this would provide versus in the Payson community right now? There's yellow Suboxone signs on every corner. So what is the difference between those folks, what they're trying to accomplish versus what this would accomplish?
The neat part about it is we've been in communication and they've been collaborating with us, building a stronger collaborative community. And if you have the opportunity, I did not want to go through it, but in this little handout, it has all of the abatements. So an entity that wants to pass out naloxone, there can be funding to purchase that naloxone. If you want to work with pregnant women, there's funding to get more access to services for pregnant women. And you will see in here, there's a program for developing warm handoffs, putting someone at your hospital so when they have an opioid and referring them back. In Chesterfield, it could be that y'all are going to have a mini coalition there that learns how to connect all the dots. The neat part about this, and then, and again, going through all of this, I did not want to, that's why I've given it to y'all. Going through all of it, this is meant to bring everybody together to work collaboratively versus in a silo. So if there is a best practices and y'all's community is doing a really good job with it, and matter of fact, I kind of took some of y'all's signs are very effective. So we have them actually in Kershaw and Lee County, and they're great question response. So when you look at these, there are ways for us to collaborate strongly. There's ways for the Sheriff's Department to collaborate stronger, and the community members that are deploying those strategies can be a part integrated into this. There are some strategies in here I do not do. We only have one OBGYN in Kershaw County, and I do not have a large pregnancy that comes through our doors. I do have them, but I don't use that strategy in here because I don't have that population to serve. And so you can look at these and see which one that you may want to use. And we're deploying out in that community, purchasing knock and drops. So whenever there is an overdose in a concentrated area, I'm trying to build, right now, I'm trying to build that there's a faith-based volunteer group that goes out within the 2-mile radius of where all those overdoses took place, because they seem to be concentrated because of the substance. And this grant pays for the knockers that we just hang on every single door. And the aunt tells the grandson of a person who's using substance. And what we found is best practices is local word of mouth is a lot better at getting that out and saving lives, because raising that awareness, those individuals who overdosed in Kershaw County, had we had a better system, we could have saved more lives on that one. So always looking, we're learning every single day on that.
I had a death that was really close to me in the past 3 months, and I guess my question is I see a lot of people that are having to go to Greenville, or having to go to Asheville, or having to go to all these other places. What would it take for us to get a facility that doesn't just prescribe preventative medication to try to keep them from having the urge, versus actually having something, an in-house place here for rehab where we can try to fix the problem? Because honestly, I think all the data shows that maybe the medication is helping buy a few more days, but it's not getting them off of the problem. Where the rehab facility, I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but I mean, this is a horrific thing that is hurting everybody.
Absolutely.
So what would it take to get a facility here?
And what's funny is his question is the same question that Kershaw County Council asked me. The unfortunate part about it is none of these funds can be used on building the infrastructure. And yes, you're exactly right. What would it take? It would take, of course, a funding source for us to bring in to build a facility, and then to begin to build it and work it. That probably is something legislatively we look at, because I will tell you, they just appointed all the funding for the mental health beds in the state of South Carolina, but they did not expand one single substance use bed. And the only place for anyone to go who does not have insurance is going to be Morris Village in Columbia, or to a faith-based community recovery in Greenwood or in North Carolina. And that is still a tough, because it's faith-based, and a lot of times trying to get someone using substances to go to a faith-based recovery facility for a year is a huge challenge. And we usually get them up, get them ready, and then we can't find them. So on that one, we have, right now, what we do for detox, y'all's two places that the Alpha Center refers to is Keystone and Rock Hill, and we refer to Lorettac and Columbia. Those are the two indigents for detox that we have. We do not have any other alternatives. I would love to talk with you about that, because it is hugely lacking. Our homeless substance use population in Kershaw County, we're battling the same thing in Kershaw County, and it's trying to get them somewhere is a huge challenge. And we have this epidemic going on, but they haven't expanded not a single bed anywhere, and none of the funds are eligible to be used for those building of infrastructures. Because if it was, I would be the first telling you, I would be advocating for us to be able to build a facility for it. But I can tell you, we're getting, Chesterfield's gonna be a little bit bigger, so March 1st, I want all of y'all to come, because our agency right now, we have clinicians working out of the 2 closets, and we're building the new facility right there in the industrial park, and looking to try and expand our ability to help more citizens in this community, because right now, if I hired probably 10 clinicians, those 10 clinicians' caseloads would be full. That's the unfortunate part about it for this community. And then I work with the school district, and we have one clinician, and Chesterfield said, "How many clinicians can you give me?" Because of the mental health and substance use. Vaping is going to be your next big issue for the schools. Y'all's school district called and said, "What can you do to help with vaping?" And we have a vaping program, but the kids are putting different substances in the vapes, and you don't smell them. And so we have been working with y'all's school district on addressing that issue. And there is the vape lawsuit that's coming down that the school districts have signed on to try and bring money in. We're in a big battle right now, and they're indoctrinating our kids at a younger age to try different substances and to be able to mask it, and it is scary. A highlighter, one of those yellow highlighters, can actually have a vape inside of it, and you think it's a highlighter. So there's a lot going on that. I wish I had a better answer for you on that one, because one life is too many.
So it is possible, if we could, if, I know they want to move on, so it is possible that if we applied for this, if we applied for this funding or whatever, and the county was able to have a infrastructure, brick and mortar, that we had vacant, these funds could be used to run the brick and mortar.
You'll have to, I hate to disappoint you, it can only be used on abatement. And if you look in here, you probably could get maybe a couple of positions out of it. But if you look into this folder, you're going to see that it's very strict on what you can and can't do. And I can't tell you what the scoreboard would or wouldn't do. I can just tell you I sit in and listen to their meetings and what they approve and they don't approve, because I'm very invested on the communities getting all of their dollars and not going anywhere else. So I really watch those very closely. I do not believe they would, but I am not the decision maker. But I am here to be as honest as I can be and to steer y'all in the best direction possible.
Mr. Eubanks, in your discussion and your staff's discussions with Ms. Jones and Al Center, what is y'all's recommendation?
I would love to, first I'd like to introduce Sarah Ruth Owens. Come up, Sarah Ruth, so they can see you, put a face.
Look, let me just say, Mr. Eubanks just embarrassed me, because this is my right hand, my left hand, and I'm so focused on it. This is my right hand, left hand, and I don't know what I would do, because I live in Kershaw County, but she's like, you got to be up here, you got to do this, you got to do that. So this is the face and voice, and she pushes me hard on y'all up here.
So,
Come here.
no, stay there. So what I would like, without reinventing the wheel, is allow them to take us, and Mr. Ruffner could help us with the motion if y'all choose to do so, but allow them to take it without and move forward and letting them handle this for us.
Is there anybody like to make a motion to that effect?
I'd like to make a motion, we move forward with this, if possible.
Is there a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We'll move down to item 7, which is public comments. Before we ask for public comments, while we welcome all comments, public comment should be limited to 4 minutes per speaker and 20 minutes per subject. Is there anyone here that wish to address council? Hearing none, we'll move down to item 8, which are public hearings. The first one being the Alligator Fire District lease purchase ordinance. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Mr. Conklin.
Mr. Conklin, Ms. Anderson, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone that wishes to address council on this ordinance? Hearing none, I assume that the same two will make the motion to second to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Next one is 8B, lease purchase ordinance, 6 motor graders and 1 tractor. Public hearing, is there a motion to open this public hearing?
Open.
Mr. Smallwood and Mr. Conklin, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone that wishes to address council on this ordinance? Hearing none, I assume the same two will make the motion and second to close the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Public hearing is now closed. We'll move down to item 9, ordinance reading, this Alligator Fire District lease purchase ordinance, the 3rd reading. Is there a motion to approve this? Mr. Conklin?
Second.
Ms. Burns? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move down to item C, Project Blue Fee and Lieu Ordinance, 2nd reading. Is there a motion to approve this? I skip one?
Yep.
Okay, excuse me, well, let's go, okay, excuse me. Lease purchase order, we'll go back to B, I'm sorry. Lease purchase ordinance, the 6 motor graders and 1 tractor through the Public Works. This is a 3rd reading. Is there a motion to approve this 3rd reading? Mr. Conklin, Ms. Burns, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Now we'll move
Now
down
you-
to the next one. Okay. Project Blue Granite Fee in lieu of ordinance, 2nd reading. Is there a motion to approve the 2nd reading? Mr. Conklin,
Second.
Ms. Anderson, is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Yeah, probably affects me a little bit more than some of you others, because y'all been on here a lot longer than I have. I would like to get an opportunity before 3rd reading on any of these projects in reference to future solar farms. I think I'd like to have an opportunity for council to be able to ask, before we do a final reading, if we could get a representative from a few of these companies to come in and actually let us do a question and answer sit down to try to see exactly what we're up against and what kind of plans they have and why they chose us versus other places. I think that's only fair for us to get that opportunity.
Okay, we'll certainly look into that. Thank you for those comments. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Go down to item D, 2nd Master MCP Park Ordinance, Project Blue Granite, 2nd reading. Is there a motion for this hearing?
Motion.
Mr. Conklin, Mr. Smallwood, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we'll go down to item E, 2nd Master MCP Park Ordinance Project Delson, 2nd reading. Is there a motion to approve the 2nd reading? Ms. Burns, Mr. Smallwood, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Move down to item F, 2nd Master MCP Park Ordinance Project Rango, 2nd reading. Is there a motion to approve the 2nd reading?
So moved.
Ms. Anderson, Mr. Conklin, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to item 10, standing committee reports. I don't believe we have any. Don't have any items submitted by the council. We move down to items submitted by the staff. The first one is a bid award on a gravel-based material. Ms. Stanley?
Yes, sir. Staff sent out RFPs for the gravel. CTC's given us more money to go on the county roads gravel material. And we sent out the RFPs and only one, vendor submitted something. It was Buckhorn. And they were done two different products, macadam base at $11 per ton and then non-specs at the, crush and run at 10.5. So we would like to, recommend the staff, the council to approve this.
Okay. Do we have a motion to, wait, just
Approve which one, the non-spec or the?
Well, Mr. McCormick, he would like have the option to get either one, yeah. Because some roads you won't need, that's right. So he felt like, it could be more beneficial to kind of alternate and, kind of look at the roads, and some of them may not need the, macadam base or whatever, that may need the crusher run, whatever.
Eubanks, you remember when you could buy the stuff for $4?
$350 actually. Yes, but to show you, the spec is a little cleaner material and it spreads a lot easier. The non-spec, it clumps up and it's not as easy, you more or less have to dump out on that.
Trashier looking too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept this bid from staff? Mr. Conklin?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move down to item B, resurfacing of roads. Ms. Stanley?
Okay, so we sent out bids for various, I think there's like 6 or so roads that we would like to resurface. And so Bone and Melton is working with us on this, and we sent out the bids, and as you can see, we've received 3. And it's the recommendation of Bone and Melton to award the bid to Lynch's River, and it's $710,850.
Do we have a motion to accept this bid?
What roads were they?
Rolling Hills Lane, June Birch Lane, Henry Poe Lane, Linton Shop Road, Wilson Road, Farmers Road, and Bethel Church Road.
Thank you.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Burns. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move down to item C, bid award for the Geo Bond Series 2023 for Cache Fire Protection District. Ms. Stanley?
Yes, sir. We sent out bids once again to not to exceed, it was a GO bond, not to exceed $175,500, and we only received one back, and it was from First Citizens, and the rate of $525. So upon the advice from the bond attorneys, staff would like to recommend to award it to First Citizens.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the bid that staff has recommended?
So moved.
Ms. Burns, Mr. Conklin, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we'll move down to item D, the lease purchase Alligator Fire District equipment. Ms. Stanley?
Yes, this was a bid we sent out for $219,600 for Alligator. And then, like I said, it was a lease purchase, and we received 2 in First Citizens with the rate of 5.14 and Community Leasing Partners at 5.54. And of course, we'd like to, from the advice of the bond attorneys, award it to the First Citizens 5.14.
First Citizens was what?
5.14.
5.14.
This said it's 4.88.
5.14, yeah. And then that community leasing was 5.54.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to accept this bid? Mr. Conklin? Mr. Smallwood? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move down to the lease purchase, Public Works, 6 motor graders and 1 tractor. Ms. Stanley?
Yep, this was our other lease purchase that we done. It was $1,650,000. And once again, we only had one to submit a bid, and it was First Citizens. And I think it was at 4.88.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept this bid by the staff?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Miller? Mr. Conklin? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move down to item F, surplus property from the Sheriff's Department. Ms. Stanley?
Okay, the Sheriff's Department sent a request to us on 3 different vehicles that they would like to surplus. And, you know, once again, as always, they use the sale of these vehicles to go back into capital equipment or the vehicles to purchase a newer vehicle, so.
Okay, do we have a motion to declare this as surplus? Mr. Conklin, Ms. Burns? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move over to item 13, unfinished business. We don't have any. Move down to number 14, retirement of K-9 combo. Sheriff?
I scared you was gonna call him Cambo.
I looked at that originally, but
Right, we've had a dog for about a little over a year. We brought it from Cheraw Police Department when the officer came over. Officer left us a short time ago and wants to buy the dog. We came up with a purchase price of $3,000 for the dog and the kennel. That's based on a estimate given us by Ventosa Kennels up in North Carolina. They breed, raise, and train police dogs. And about a year ago, they gave us a price of $2,000 for a dog. If y'all remember, Officer Clay Sykes had left us and wanted to purchase the dog, but he came back a short time later. And so he kept the dog, but he paid the price was $2,000 based on what Ventosa said the dog was worth, and that's where we came up with our price for the dog in the kennel, $3,000.
okay, we have a motion to accept the retirement of the K-9.
So moved.
Ms. Anderson, Mr. Conklin, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Sheriff, this dog not entitled to any benefit, retirement benefits or anything.
Are you offering it?
Thank you,
If
Sheriff,
he is,
appreciate
it's
it.
personal.
Yeah.
If he is offering, it's personal.
I'll drop it right there.
Thank you, Sheriff. We move down to item B. Mr. Arant is here to tell us about a Everbridge program, which is a public safety mass notification system.
Good morning, council.
Morning, sir.
First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to get to buy the Everbridge program. It's something our county's needed for a very, very long time. I've put it in the budget request ever since I've been the director. This year, it was approved out of our technical support. The Everbridge system is a system that we can use. It is equivalent to Code Red. It just has a lot less specifications that we have to meet to be able to use it. I've actually negotiated with them to get the price down from what the contract I turned in to less than $10,000. It's $9,999. And so the contract that I gave to Mr. Eubanks was a 1 year with that rate and a 3 year that would be an increment rate each year. I'm trying to get them to do us a 3 year out so I can offer him the 1 year or 3 years so we don't have a price increase. But what the notification system does is amazing. We have already contacted the Sheriff's Department for their representative, and they gave me Captain Wayne Jordan, who will be part of our team. It is a GIS-based system, and since we have basically the E911 system, everything is GIS-based. Everything's going to that. The Everbridge system is a system where we can take over communications. It has to be a very life-threatening, say we have a wildfire down in Patrick, and a lot of people don't have phone service, they don't have any device that could have any kind of internet, anything. There's 25 different applications it can hit. It can even do phone calls. We can go on our map and draw a dot, 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 and draw a circle, and it will take over that phone and say, run for your lives. This is what's happening. We can utilize this with boil water advisories for towns. We can use it with county water advisories. We can use it for all kind of things by signing up. You can sign up to get the weather. You can sign up to get notifications of earthquakes. You can sign up to get notifications of anything that's happening. Robin Sage, that happens in our county. A lot of people don't know. When you see the helicopters and you see the airplanes every single year, we have the military here doing practices in our state forest. We can notify people that these things are happening, not to call 911. We also, you can sign up for these things. As I was talking to Mr. Eubanks, one thing that we found out is you could have a council chamber. You could have a HR chamber. If it's a message council wants to get to all the employees, every employee can get a message from you through this. It doesn't cost, if we use it 1,000 times a year or if we use it one time a year, it doesn't cost any different amount of money. There's far less regulations with Everbridge. The closest county that uses it exclusively is Florence County, close to us. This is worldwide. It's not even just nationwide. It is everywhere. So we actually have the ability to see every single community that we want to see. There are regulations to it. We can sign it up. We can allow it. If council decides, okay, we want the towns to be able to utilize this since county council paid for the, authorized to pay for this, each town could have a representative that trains and what guidelines we put in place to say, this is all that can be broadcast. This is what cannot be broadcast. This cannot be used for an election. This cannot be used for personal gain. This cannot be used for anything like that. This is a notification system. And one of the places that we see we really need this is when we had the jailbreak. Years ago when we had a jailbreak. That's when I really started pushing. When we had the jailbreak over at the Sheriff's Department, I was called at 11 o'clock at night by Captain Wayne Jordan wanting to know from 911, did we have a reverse call out? Did we have a way to notify the people within 1 mile of the jail that we had an inmate that had escaped? And we did not. Now, we can, with the touch of a button, we can notify that we have something going on in the community. We have an earthquake that happened in the community that's going to affect you. We have a storm that's coming into our community that you need to take shelter from. We work with the National Weather Service. We work with the National Hurricane Service. We work really hard in our office to keep our certifications, and we are a storm-ready county. So we always have our certifications, so we get privy to a lot of information that a lot of communities may not have because we work to keep those certifications through the National Weather Center. We have a lot of citizens that will complain that, we had a tornado come through and they reported it, but the National Weather Center says it wasn't a tornado. We have to go out and see these things on the ground, and we have to touch, because there's a lot of, when it's a tornado and it's not a tornado, there's a huge difference in money when it comes to FEMA and it comes to those things. And we even had deputies who called into 911 and said, I see a tornado. I actually see a funnel cloud. It is a funnel cloud when it's in the air. It's a tornado when it touches the ground. There are tornadoes that come through all the time that people say, I saw a tornado. But because it did not touch the ground, it doesn't affect us. It's straight line winds from the bottom of it. We go out, we meet the National Weather Service. They have to convince us that they know what they're talking about, because we see alleys and it looks like a tornado, but it affects insurance. It affects all. This is a way to keep our citizens informed of everything going on. Like I said, they can sign up for it. If they want to get weather alerts that are in their area, they sign a form. They can sign, they want to get it by text. They want it by a digital phone call. They want it by a pager. They want it by whatever element they have, an email, whatever they choose, we can do it. There's no additional cost to have it all 25 ways or have it one way. But this is something that will keep them informed. And The good thing about the Everbridge system is, say we have something happen between Pageland and the state line. We have a tractor trailer that has turned over and it's carrying fuel up at Love's, and the road's gonna be closed for 8 hours. We can lock in state line to Pageland, that road, and everybody who drives into it with their cell phone that hits that phone tower is gonna get the notification that you cannot get through this road turnaround. This is what's going on. You can use it for so many applications. And so that's what Everbridge is. You're gonna see a lot more about it in your email and things as we implement it. We've already been through our first training and setup classes to try to implement this into Chesterfield County. It works really well with our GIS, and it's just gonna jump on to what we do now. So the more people we put on that, we can give the honor of being able to use the application, the less we have to do. But at 911, we sit in front of a map, someone 24/7 that can easily use this application. It's not somebody has to come to work to do it or be able to apply it. We can notify 911 and have my staff leader actually do whatever you need to do instantly. There is no delay. Just to give you an idea, with Code Red, South Carolina offers Code Red to every community. Code Red is offered to every county free of charge. There are some entities that buy Code Red themselves. I think the town of Sherrall uses Code Red. They have to pay for that themselves. It is a free thing that the state offers me. That is what my notification system is now. But it is very, very limited. It has to be a life and death thing before I'm allowed to use it. And there's a 30 to 45-minute delay for every notification that goes out. And so Code Red is about $14,000 a year, and it's still limited for what we could do even if we pay it. Where Everbridge, you have so many freedoms to use it that could benefit the county. And so if you have any questions, you can call my office. Anybody that would like to come by, our office is always open to council. We're closed to the public, but if you'd like to come by and tour our facility and see what we do with that stuff, we can show you what we do. Just give us a call. I think you all have my email, my phone number, because I'm pretty in contact with most of you. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Eubanks?
I need y'all's permission to either enter into a 1-year or 3-year agreement with them.
Is there a difference in price 1 year and 3 years?
The price would be the same for the 1 year and the 3 year, but the 3 year locks you in for no price increase for the 3 years. After 1 year, the price can go up, another year it can go up. If you lock in the 3 years, you lock in the price of $999.99. $9,999.99. And when I quoted it, it was $10,870, which y'all approved in the budget.
Ben, we could lock in, and I feel like it's something that, you know, we could definitely utilize throughout the county to lock in. I would like to go with the 3 year if possible.
It's already in the budget.
It's in the budget.
Still,
We have a motion by Mr. Conklin,
Second.
second by Ms. Anderson. Is there any discussion?
And it is under government and state contract.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Thank you, guys.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Aram. Let's see, board appointments, we have none. Administrator report, Mr. Eubanks?
I've got a couple things. I had a phone call yesterday from Sherry Honeycutt with Main Street Pageland. If you noticed, I passed out flyers to y'all. They would like to start a Chesterfield County fair again. And she called, and the town of Pageland actually voted on it last night. So she called me or texted me this morning, letting me know that everything was on go from the town of Pageland. This would be within the town of Pageland. They would do everything. They just basically want our blessings to use Chesterfield County to proceed on with this fair. So unless I hear any different, we're gonna tell them to have at it and put on a good state or county fair for us. So we don't need to vote unless y'all see a problem or any issues with it, and I don't foresee none. I think it's a good thing. Everybody likes to go to a county fair, so. That's the other one. The other thing, just to bring y'all up to date on the Welcome to Chesterfield County signs. Y'all know y'all voted to let me proceed with that on Highway 1 between Chesterfield and Kershaw County. We kind of run into a roadblock in talking with the state. They said we cannot put that within their right-of-way. And that kind of brings up some issues. We then, because they've got, in my opinion, a perfect place for one. It's as big as a football field down there after they moved the bridge over. So we, in turn, sent back an email to them asking, why is this a local thing or is this a regional thing with the state DOT, with a lot of pictures throughout our state with big, nice brick, welcome to whatever county signs. And so just to bring y'all up to date, that's kind of on hold right now until we hear back, and we have not heard back from the state, because I, for the life of me, cannot see why that wouldn't be a perfect place for one, so.
Anything else?
That's all I have. Mr.
Council?
Conklin- Mr. Conklin had a.
Could we get legislator to look at that? To see why they're stopping and treating us like a stepchild?
We could make some calls.
Because that's the same problem with the grass cutting, everything. They totally ignore what we're doing.
Item 17, council member comments. Anybody got any comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I see Mayor Biddle's here. It's a good thing so we can kind of get some clarification on something. So I've been made aware that the parking lot behind the solicitor's office, that there has been signs posted. I haven't seen them myself, or signs are being posted saying that the parking lot is going to be closed. And I would like to ask Mr. Biddle if he would come up and where we could discuss, what the reasoning is behind it, and is it closed just for county employees, or is it closed for all town residents? Or, what's behind the reason why the parking lot is closed?
Just if I could step in, I was gonna talk to Mr. Biddle today and ask him for a meeting with the chairman and I to ask those very questions. I didn't know if we wanted to do it
I mean, I think
this
it's,
way or.
That'd be the way to handle it.
I mean, I understand y'all's philosophy for wanting to have a meeting like that, but there's no better opportunity than the present. If somebody's gonna feel a certain way about putting signs up to shut us off from using the parking lot, I wanna know if it's closed to everybody or if it's closed to just us, and what the reason is behind it. Is it retaliation because we didn't pay for half the parking lot to be paved, or what is it? I mean, if you're gonna put signs up and do it, you should stand behind what you do and be willing to say it in public. Mr. Biddle, do you mind speaking about it?
Good morning,
Come
everyone.
on, Mayor.
Our council had approached y'all, and I've been up here numerous times about the parking lot. We were going to extend Biddle Drive from Green Street all the way through. We're going to have to take the building down. As you know, COG won't pay for anything in the parking lot. The PD Transportation and COG would pay for the Biddle Drive extension. The funding, like everybody else, we're short funding with the parking lot. The town to pay for architect designs of both of them, the parking lot and Biddle Drive. And we just don't have the funding to be able to fund. It's going to be 172 plus 5%, because the last thing we had was in October. And so, as you know, Jody went out, myself, and Cecil, our administrator, and the boundaries of the parking lot in the back, which I've spoke to you, Tim, about several times. Council agreed just to shut the parking lot down completely, to everybody, to the church, to the bank, to everybody. It's going to be, Jody's already ordered all the fencing to put up and everything else as that date when it closes down. So we just don't have any choice to be able to do that. We're going to continue on with Biddle Drive, and there will be parking spots on Biddle Drive eventually. But we're probably looking at 6 months out before that project could probably even start.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? There is a need to go into executive session. Mr. Ruffner, could you give us an explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That would be pursuant to South Carolina Code Section 30-4-70, subsection A1, to discuss employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of employees. And then also under subsection A2, for discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements, receipt of legal advice that relates to pending, threatened, or potential claims or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege. And those two matters are B1, Paisley Fire Department Communication System, and then B2, public defender funding requirements. And council may take action by voting on all three or any one or two of those matters after exiting executive session.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Mr. Conklin, Mr. Smallwood, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Before we go into executive session, we'll take a 10-minute break. So we'll resume here at about 10:20. Opposed, the motion carries. We are now out of executive session. We are back in regular session, and while we're in executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken. And now we need a motion on the Pageland Fire Department 800 service.
And to increase the building code.
Yeah, increased it, but we need those separate motions.
I thought we were good on the building.
That's right, we're good on the codes. So we just need a motion on the fire department.
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion, we proceed with, allow them to go to the 800 system at no cost to the county.
Okay.
I second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, there, any opposed? Motion carries. In that case, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Good.
Nay.